Good afternoon, people of YouTubes. Now I hope you've enjoyed the footage from Cadwell Park. I managed to get all the footage, cameras did not die, and yeah, both front and rear cameras were spot on. So I think what was happening is, because I was recording in 4K, the camera was then overheating after 20 minutes. Recording at 4K at I think 60 frames per second. So I just knocked it down to 1080p and all was good. So we need to do some stuff for the race car. As of the issues that we had at Cadwell, i.e. someone going into me and the surgeon under throttle. So I've comprised a list of what we need to do. There was 3 weeks in between Cadwell and Snetterton, and we've already lost a week, so we've got 2 weeks to get this car prepared. Shouldn't take us too long, a few hours hopefully, and all will be well. So the main issue that we need to sort out is the surgeon of the power. If you stuck around to the end of the last or the second race video, you'd hear that it'd rev up to 4,000 RPM and then back down to idle again, and I'll just keep doing that until you switch it off. So we need to replicate that, get it on the laptop, and then see if there's any faults with any of the sensors. Now I think it's going to be like a map sensor or idle control valve sensor or a throttle position sensor, something like that. So I've gone ahead and I've purchased a spare 160 inlet manifold. So that's got the idle air control sensor, that's got the map sensor. Because I don't think you can get them anymore, and I think these are about 60-70 quid, and then the same with the throttle sensor, but I have got a spare 52mm throttle body with a throttle sensor on anyway, which I know is good. So when you start it up, runs absolutely fine. After about 10-15 minutes of running and it warms up, it's then and you give it a blip of throttle, it then starts doing its fault. So we need to sort that out first. Secondly, we need to try and sort something out with this mess. This is quite bad. I have got a new front sill section coming. Rear quarters are plentiful at the minute, so I'm going to order one of them, and I have got a spare door. I'm not going to do any of that because we haven't got time to, but we are going to try and pull out as much of it as we can to try and get it straight. We might even throw the old door back on with the lacquer peel on it, just so it's got a straight door, and then we'll get rid of all this tyre mark around here with some tire and glue remover and just try and make it a little bit more presentable. So that's the second thing. The third thing is, I've noticed that I've got something adrift with this rear wheel here. Now if you look closely, you can see all the rippling in the powder coat, which indicates to me that there's either something wrong with the wheel or it's got very hot. Now, every time I've finished the race, I've gone over and I've checked the tyre pressures, just so I know they're all relatively even. And I didn't notice that this wheel was any hotter than the rest. And the disc, you can normally tell if they got hot because they're like really blue, and where the pad contact is, and really brown or red where the rust is. But this don't look no different to the other side. But I have noticed that the rear pads are getting low. So we're going to pull them apart. We're going to stick in some new rear pads, and then just check the caliper, make sure nothing's sticking, and then just give that wheel a bit of a look over just to make sure that's all okay. And we might even swap the front wheels to the rear wheels, or the front to the rear to the front. Just so if there is anything wrong with that wheel, I don't notice it, there's less stress on the front because there's less weight, if that makes sense. But I think it's just heat that's done that, and it could be the fact that is what happened here, but I can't really see no indication of it apart from there's a little bit of a mark there on the wheel where that's made contact before the body, but I can't see it causing this. So yeah, I think we'll take the wheel off, we'll have a good look, make sure there's no cracks or anything in it, and I might throw it on the balancer just to be on the safe side. Yeah, that's the plan anyway. Yeah, so that drift, running issue, dent, wheel and brakes, and then just a case of looking around the car, make sure all the nuts and bolts are tight, and then we'll do because it's had a little bit of a knock, we'll get the strings on and just make sure everything is in check and nothing is out of line. But in the second race it drove absolutely fine, so I don't think there's much wrong with it in the sense of alignment. So right, let's get on, let's get it started up, let's get it doing its weird idling thing, and then we'll go from there. Right, I've got it running, I've got the computer on it, I've got all the live data that I want to read on, and it all looks relatively good. So yeah, it hasn't done its funny thing yet. I gave it a couple of revs, but nothing too dramatic. There you go, straight away. It's gone back down again. So yeah, that's what it's doing, and we'll turn it off. So yeah, that's what it was doing. There isn't really any fault codes that suggests anything untoward. A lot of people have been asking me about the engine management light flashing. Now, it's always done that since the MEMS 3 conversion, and I think, and I keep coming up as multiple misfire detected, I think what's happened is that the engine mounts that I've got fitted are the Vibrotechnics competition mounts, which are like proper hard, and I think the it detects harmonics in the engine and it causes that light to come on, which is what I think has happened. Basically, because I've changed coils, changed plugs, changed O2 sensors, I've changed all the sensors, and that always happen. So yeah, that's what I think the engine light flashing is. And it only seems to do it when you're sort of like holding like between 2,000 and 4,000 RPM going around the track or going down the road, just holding steady throttle at a steady speed, it then starts flashing on and off, but it doesn't affect the performance of the car, so I wasn't really too concerned about it. Right, let's go back into here and just read the error codes. Now I know there's going to be a lot. So yeah, I've got boost calibration fault, misfire causing increased emissions, random multiple misfire. That's all the faults that I normally get relating to that engine light flashing. Downstream post cat oxygen sensor, well, it's had that deleted anyway, so it's only the pre-cat that's working. Air conditioner hasn't got it. Variable intake solenoid number 2 circuit malfunction. Again, that's always been in there since I've had this ECU mapped basically, and that's on 90% of the vehicles I see when I put this on a computer. So I think the next thing to do is, I've already taken the support bars out, is I'm just going to swap that inlet manifold over and see if that's going to cure the issue. So yeah, I might stick you on a little bit of a time lapse if I can find my tripod, and yeah, and bring you along the way. Right, we've skipped ahead a little bit. The last clip you saw was me taking off the inlet manifold, and the second hand one that I got were all the bits. I got all sorts of bits down there. Anyway, I put the new one on and I couldn't get it to start and idle. If I take off the vacuum pipe, it then start up and idle a little bit higher, obviously because there's a big vacuum leak in there, but that idle control valve was knackered. And the other one that I've got is, I'm not sure if it's the idle control valve or the map sensor that was faulty on that. So yeah, I've got 3 scrap manifolds with scrap sensors. So what I've done is I've gone onto Rimmer Brothers, I've ordered a brand new idle control valve, a brand new map sensor, and also a brand new 52mm throttle body with the throttle position sensor on it. So once they come in the next couple of days, we'll stick all them on. So I then moved jobs, try and figure out other things. Obviously the wheel on the driver's side rear, sorry, has all this, almost look like the paint is, or the powder coat is starting to shift off basically. So I just wanted to get the inside, or get the wheel off and check the inside to make sure there's no cracking or distortion, and that all looks good in there, and it hasn't done it on the other wheels. So I think I might swap these rears for the fronts because there's less weight on the front. for now. And then I've just checked all the brakes just to make sure that I didn't have a seized caliper or anything, but as you can see, these are all nice and free. The rust around here, normally if you get a hot brake, that'll be a lot more brown and that'll be a lot more blue, but it looks the same on both sides. So I'm not concerned about that. The wheel bearings are turning nice and freely. These are all brand new calipers and carriers at the beginning of the season, and they're all nice and free, so I'm not worried about that. The pads are a little bit on the low side, and they are really glazed up. I've got some new pads, so we'll slap the new pads in. Just show you that side. There's a lot of cracking in the pad itself, but that's all perfectly normal. So yeah, we'll chuck some new pads on, give all the brakes a good bleed again, and then call that quits. And then obviously just swap the rear wheels to the front. Again, just because if there's anything wrong with that wheel, there won't be so much weight on the front to what there is on the rear. Because I haven't got any more 60-inch wheels apart from my wets. And I'm not sure what the weather's doing at the minute, whether it's going to be raining at Snetterton or not. Yeah, unless I try and get another couple of wheels and just swap the tyres over. Leave that one with me. I don't really, if that wheel is damaged, I don't really want to go on track with it damaged. So yeah, anyway, the next thing is turn my attention to all this damage here. And I've had the sucker on it and just try and pulled as much out as I can, and got a bar behind in this vent and pushed out as much as I can, but because of this big crease here, that's very reluctant to do anything. I can't do nothing on that. And you see where I've had the bar behind there and just try and push that panel out. I have now got a front seal section. I have got another door, and I just need to order this rear quarter up. But I'll do that at the end of the season, because I know these are plentiful, and then front sill sections are getting a bit harder to come by now. So I have got a new vent. Let me show you that. So these bits here are super hard to get hold of, on the driver's side at least. And I've got the inner bit which goes in there, that bit screws onto there, and then you got the vent. So I think what I'll do is I'll get these vents bits all on. The new vent is in that white bag. I'll get these vents on, I'll get some tar and glue remover, and that should all come off with some tar and glue remover. So I'll do that, and that'll tidy at least that bit up. Yeah, and then we'll get on to do some brakes. Can you tell where it was yet? Yeah, of course you can. Anyway, we've managed to knock out a little bit of the dent, tar and glued it, and I literally spun the polisher over it, just to get rid of any of the stuff the tar and glue removed didn't get, like paint transfer and stuff like that. But yeah, that's all done. It will do. At the end of the day, it's not perfect. It's the last race of the season, so I'm not about to fully panel this up in 2 weeks, just to potentially be hit again. So the plan is to get it all relatively straight-ish, where it looks like a car, and together, and give it a little bit of a clean up, and then we'll worry about repaneling it for next season. Anyway, you noticed it's red. Now I couldn't get hold of the silver ones. No one had any driver's side silver ones, so I bought a pair of red ones. And yes, I did say a pair, because we've done this side as well. So, and everyone knows that red comes to 10 horsepower at least. So yeah, again, it's not pretty, but it's in there and it's secure. So yeah, the door opens and closes. What else do you need? Right, anyway, let's get on. Let's crack these brakes out. Yeah, just in case of just winding back these calipers and sliding in the new pads, and then bolting it all back up again. Right, pads are in, wheels are on. I swapped the wheels over, so they're now the fronts and now the rears. Pad wise, I've gone for what was already in it, which were Mintec Racing 1144s. Don't want nothing too bitey on the back. So yeah, they're all in. Wheels are on, and I've fitted the top inlet manifold. It's got a brand new throttle body. It's got a brand new idle air control valve, brand new map sensor, all genuine Rover. So yeah, I'm basically just going to start it up. Well, first of all, I'm going to do the idle air control valve reset, which is the 5 pumps on the throttle, ignition on and off and all that sort of jazz. Do that, get it started, make sure it starts, and then get it up to temperature, and then see if we've still got that fault. So bear with me, and I'll come back to you when it's all running and warmed up. Right, I've had this running now for a good 30-35 minutes, and I haven't got it to do its weirdness yet, but I have noticed that my oil pressure gauge has stopped working. Well, I started doing like loads of little jumps, like about 1 bar. So I turned it off and just made sure everything was connected at the back. Turned it back on again, and it's just, yeah, completely dead. It moves a little bit, and that's it. That sits there. Now I did put my old VDO gauge in it. Tested for live and negative at the gauge, and just chucked this one in it. And because I know this goes up to, when it's got a sensor fault, that goes all the way up to maximum, so over 10 bar. So I've plugged that in, and yeah, that went all the way up to 10 bar. So I'm just thinking that stat gauges might be a little bit different in the sense of they don't read anything when they got a sensor fault. So I've ordered a sensor thinking that the gauge is going to be okay. I'm sure it will be, can't see it being the gauge as such. So yeah, I've ordered a new sensor on a Saturday delivery. It's now Friday, so hopefully I'll get that tomorrow and we can chuck that in, and all will be good there. What else have I done? That's about it really. I'll just start it up. So as I say, I've had it running for about 30-35 minutes, and I keep coming over and just giving it a little rev, and it's been absolutely fine. So I think we've solved that issue with that running problem. So yeah, that all seems to be doing well. Just turn that back off again. So yeah, we've sorted that out. We've sort of sorted that area out. The wheel issue, I've just swapped them front to back, and what will be. I can't see no damage to the wheel. There's no one close by with an x-ray machine, so I can't get him x-rayed. So I'm just going to send it. I think it's just heat, and it's just starting to get the powder coat shifted off, if you know what I mean. So I swapped them front to back. New rear pads, obviously checked all the brakes. All the pistons went in fine. The sliders are absolutely fine. So all the wheel bearings feel okay. I mean, that's just the pads, new pads rubbing on the discs. But yeah, I think we're done here, to be honest with you. The only other thing that I need to do is a wheel alignment. So I'll just chuck the strings on it and get that done off camera. You don't need to see me do any more wheel alignments. And I've just got to get this, put this cross brace back in, and that's good to go. I think I'll just get this edited up and sent out to you, because it's now Friday and we've got a week before we need to be at Snetterton. So I'm planning on taking the car on the trailer down there Friday evening. So that will be there ready for Saturday. Yeah, and that's it basically. If I see anything untoward with the wheel alignment, I will just slip it in there, but if you don't see anything at the end of this video, then assume everything is a-okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with wheel alignment. That's probably just need a little bit of a tweak. Not going to do any changes to it, so that's all pretty much on a fast track, if you know what I mean. So Snetterton's like quite fast, and it's got some fast corners. So we'll keep the camber as it is, and we'll keep the settings as they are, because they seem to work fine for me at Cadwell. So yeah, anyway, enough going on. Jobs are done. The inlet manifold's done with all the sensors. That's running fine. New rear pads. Got the door sorted. So it's just the alignment, and I'll get that gauge in, or that sender unit in off camera. I've still got the light. The light still works fine. So the gauge is just a bit of a more accurate reading, as to say. But I'm pretty confident that's going to be the gauge, so, or the sender unit. So we'll slap the sender unit in there, and that should be good. But if not, I will update in the next video if that wasn't the case. But yeah, anyway, take that as it's done. I'll get this video edited, get it out to you, and then you should see the next video is going to be the races at Snetterton, which will be the season finale. So then we can crack on and do other things like the Metro, get this all sorted. I've done that wing already. Obviously you saw me do the cleaning of the underside, and then we've just started cutting all this out, which I've started to record, and I've just done that bit off camera, just so I know what I'm doing and how I'm going to attack this side, because we've got a battery tray, we've got inner wing, front and back. We need to straighten this out. I've got a chassis leg to get rid of that mess there, so it looks more like that one, and a front panel to go on here as well. So we've got plenty of work to do on that one. We've got a little bit of work to do on the Metro again. So yeah, after the racing we'll crack on and get them done. But for now I'm going to say goodbye, and we'll see you at Snetterton.